Hello again. It seems to be generally accepted in this country today that shame is not a desirable thing for anybody to feel, and neither is expressing disgust at other people's lives really the way we should be living and thinking. We must at least appear to tolerate any vice or perversion without showing repugnance or disapproval. Judging people is frowned upon, particularly in sexual matters. Of course, disapproval, shame, and disgust are the kind of emotions which once made Britain a much more agreeable place in which to live. Disapproval of women having illegitimate babies and the shame felt by those who had children out of wedlock ensured that almost all children grew up in stable families with their mothers and fathers. Social disapproval also discouraged hooliganism, drunkenness, idleness, promiscuity, and a dozen other things which most of us feel that we see altogether too much of in the modern world. Judging others served a useful purpose and kept antisocial activity in check, while strengthening family life and making criminal activity an unattractive proposition. Now that we've abandoned all those negative feelings and nobody feels shame or remorse anymore for their actions, we see people come to prominence for doing things which would at the very least have caused raised eyebrows a few years ago, if not frank disapproval or even disgust. Our idea of a famous personality these days is a young woman who goes by the stage name of Bonnie Blue. Her sole claim to fame is that she has sex with a lot of men and is paid to expose the intimate parts of her body to anybody prepared to pay for the privilege. Put as bluntly as that, of course, it makes her sound little better than a striptease artist or prostitute, which, to all intents and purposes, is, of course, just what she is. The OnlyFans website where she appears is a paid subscription service chiefly used by those seeking pornography or who wish to allow others to pay to look at their bodies. It's the modern equivalent of a striptease show, although by all accounts with considerably less artistry involved. Perhaps it's a kind of readers' wives for our times. The woman calling herself Bonnie Blue goes a lot further than merely exhibiting her body. She attempts to have sex with as many men as possible, allegedly allowing over 1,000 men to penetrate her in the course of 12 hours earlier this year. Why anybody would want that to be published about them in the newspapers, I cannot imagine. But there it is. It is, I suppose, fame of a kind. This then is what passes now for a reasonable lifestyle and celebrity, about which most of us hesitate to express any kind of negative judgment in case we come across as hypocrites or prudes. I don't personally think that one needs to be cast in the same mould as the late Mary Whitehouse to find the idea of a woman having sex with 1,000 men in a day slightly distasteful or indeed downright revolting. I sometimes wonder if we have not moved a little too far along the path of tolerance and being laid back about other people's sex lives. Perhaps we should begin to start eyeing prostitution askance again, and even feel that pornography isn't really such a wonderful thing either. Maybe Mary Whitehouse actually had a point, and we should have listened to her rather than making her the butt of our humour. Frankly, the permissive society doesn't seem to have done us much good, and it may well be that things were better when marriages lasted for decades rather than months, and every child was raised by his father as well as his mother.